Okay, guys, it's GregglesTV. It's another interview time. And my guest today is the founder and face of Savvy Sexy Social, which helps rising stars and big brands embrace their personality and share it with the world. She has amassed over 10 million YouTube views in her career, is the host of the Social Authority podcast, and is a regular speaker on the social media conference circuit. But I know her because of a little event called Team Crispy Live, where she was an amazing, engaging, excellent host.
Thank you.
My guest, Amy Schmittauer. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. It's a very, very high bar with the Team Crispy. So we had fun though.
You were awesome. Actually, I want to dive right into that right off the bat.
Great.
Actually, how did you get involved in that, and how did that come about for you?
So, that's a long story. I've known Austin since he had 30,000 subscribers. We were both at Playlist Live. I believe it was the second year for Playlist Live. And he and I were the ones that were sponsored by sponsors. So we actually got to be on the show floor when everybody else wasn't allowed to, because we were hanging out at our booths. And we got to know each other that way. We've just been friends ever since. I had him speak at a workshop tour that I did called Savvy Sexy Social Live. And it was much more underwhelming, I think, than what Team Crispy Live was. But I think the gist of it, he came and spoke at the Columbus event, which is where I'm based. And I think he saw that there were people there that even Amy has fans. Amy only has 45,000 subscribers, but even Amy has fans. And he saw that, and he really thought, I want to be able to give back to my community the same way that Amy has here. I did it in a different format. It was more curriculum based than sort of like, here's some details about us, now let's hug and take pictures. Right. But I think he wanted the same thing, and he got the rest of the team on board and really spearheaded it. And I couldn't be more proud of what he did, and the fact that he and all of them gave back at that event. It was really, really cool to see. Yeah. And then they were telling me about their event, and I was asking them this question and that question and this question and that question about event planning, and they were like, maybe you could come help. And I was like, okay. And then I ended up hosting. I don't know how that part happened.
You did awesome though, seriously. I was super impressed. I was very impressed. So obviously you're deeply engaged and in the thick of things with social media. So how did that all come about for you? How did you get involved in YouTube and building and sharing social media learning aspects to different people?
So YouTube is the beginning of it all for me. Video is the beginning of it all for me, I should say. The first video I ever created is not online. It was a gift for a bride, and I was her bridesmaid. And I made the whole room at the rehearsal dinner cry. Yeah. And it was great. And that's when I realized the power of video and being able to hold the emotions of everyone in the room in my hand. It was incredible. And that made me get interested in editing, and I was afraid of the camera. I was never a ham growing up, but I just started making video, and I had the Schmittastic channel first. That's been my personal vlogging experience at the beginning of all this, with 2009 through probably 2012. And Savvy Sexy Social came about in 2011, where during that time I realized this is so cool. I just built a community based on me showing people trips to Target being cool. And okay, and now I'm going to teach brands how to do this. And so I basically leveraged the fact that social media marketing was up and coming, and it was becoming a real thing, but no one in the space was really using video on YouTube specifically, but really video to differentiate themselves as an expert in the field. And I knew how to edit, I knew how to use YouTube, I knew how to use search on YouTube. And so that's really how I got ahead of everyone else trying to become a social media expert in terms of video. So that's it.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you've been, and it goes back to social media. You've been doing this, as you said, for years now. You kind of know the ins and the outs of it. So where do you see it going over the next few years? Do you see it going to live video more? Do you see Twitter going even more crazy than it already is? Like, what do you see? Where do you see it going?
I love that you said that about Twitter because everybody just keeps saying Twitter's dying.
Yeah.
But what I actually think is, even though everyone's sort of saying like, whoa, Amy, are you shaking your boots because there's all these other competitors that YouTube now? And I'm like, no, you go ahead and do your Periscope and your Snapchat, and that's all going to fall off in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm building my archives on YouTube. I think the future is this. It's just more accessible. And it's a good conversation that there's now longer video on Instagram and more videos happening on Twitter and Facebook video even gaining traction, where it's just letting everyone know how relevant this really is. And YouTube continues to be a massive part of the conversation. I think the future is just that people are realizing how deep the connection can actually get with your audience because of video.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you're doing it. I think you should be on YouTube no matter what to build your archives and rank and search. But all of these things are very important for connecting with your audience. You've got to be somewhere video-wise.
Right.
That's where the future is.
So you teach people and you show people how to improve their brands and things like that. And you've done a whole bunch of conferences. At least I assume. It seems like you have. So obviously there's a common question probably you get all the time. What's a question you think people should ask more of from social media or think about?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
I was trying to reverse it a little bit.
I think the question people should be asking more often is, how do I start a video correctly? Or how do I start a video on the right foot? Because I think, as you and I both know, it's really the quality of that video once they have clicked play. Once they made the decision to click play, you had to have a headline, you had to have a custom thumb, you had to have all these things to get there first. Facebook's a different scenario. You could just be getting an accidental view, and you've got to have something really visual to happen. But I think the correct question that people should be asking is, how do I set my video off on the right foot so that I really pull them in? Because it's audience retention that really matters. If they're not continuing to stay long enough to say, I want to know you more, which leads to a subscribe or leads to a website visit or leads to an email list growth, then what are we doing this for? Why are we spending so much time on this? And I think a lot of brands, people, it doesn't matter. They click the film button and they're just like, my name is, and we already know it's hard for you, but get the practice in and realize if you're not having a good time, no one else is either.
Yeah. And that kind of leads me to my next question. So you've created this guide called 30 Days to Better Vlogging. And my question is, what can people expect to take away from that? Because it is a subscription service, correct?
So it's just a 30-day like daily tip. It's not a subscription service.
Okay.
It's a one-time. It's a little bit.
I'm sorry, you're right. It's a
that's
one-time
okay.
fee.
It lives on my membership site, which is a subscription. But no, this is just a one-time. You get the guide, and it just comes out to you in an email, and you access the video and the downloads and anything that comes with the daily thing. But the takeaway here is simply, you should want to get started with video very easily and not be bogged down by equipment or even worrying about whether or not you have a good personality. If you really get the practice in and focus on the small ways that you can improve your videos without bogging yourself down thinking, oh my gosh, I need a whole set, I need a crew, I need professionals. You really don't. Pull the phone out, talk to the phone, just make a few small tweaks, such as getting to the content immediately instead of going through your spiel for the first 35 to 40 seconds. And you'll be on a good path. And I think that there are just some things, the reason why I created that, because people do not know me for $30 products. Like, it's just not what I'm known for. I have a high price membership group and I have a higher price coaching price. So this was important to me because what I realized was, just like you said, I get a lot of questions frequently. The same questions I was asking to my digital mentors who would never, ever reply to my comments in 2008, 2009. Those people are asking me the same thing. Even though video is more accessible, there's still there's information out there. I had to pause people's videos. Like, Justine, if she stood in front of a mirror, I was like, stop. Let me see what she's holding in her hand so I could see what the camera was. Because at that time, nobody was talking about their equipment. They wanted to keep all their secrets. We don't have that problem anymore, but people are still asking those questions. So I wanted to create the guide so that I could just say, here's all the answers. I gave you the answers on my YouTube channel a lot, but also here's a specific guide if you're really on this track and you want to be on it.
That's cool. And so you're when I watch your YouTube anyway, you consistently give people ideas on how to improve, maybe what video to make, tons of things. It's amazing. You come up with a new video every day, or almost, multiple times a week, I should say.
A lot.
Yeah, a lot. So where do you get your ideas? You give other people ideas, but where are you getting your ideas? What motivates you? Do you go on for a walk like Steve Jobs would do and garner an idea that way?
I think my dog wishes I went on walks. I don't. Honestly, I really listen. I know that it's hard to see that as a viewer sometimes, that the YouTuber is listening or that the brand is listening. But even if your comments don't always get to, I'm seeing them, and I'm getting emails, and I'm getting tweets, and I'm seeing people in real life. Yeah. My mom will ask me the same question that somebody at a conference will ask me. My mom asked me to make a GIF the other day. I was like, okay, Mom, I know this sounds crazy, but I am really only keeping certain things in my head at this point in my life, and making a GIF isn't one of them, because I think there's a way to do it. And I'll just tweet someone and ask them to do it, because I can't. But I think because I get those questions all the time, and media is changing, and so context is changing. A lot of these answers are going to be the same answers, but because the year, the tool, the context, the conversation is different, you can answer it in a different way. And I actually empower people to think about that in their video creation, that, oh, I made a video about that already. Well, you're going to quickly say, like, man, I wish I would have had better quality 2 years ago, because I answered that question already. Make another one. Yeah. Like, it's okay to do that. Right. People want to see an updated version of something, and that's all I'm doing. Mm-hmm.
So we have social media, obviously, and we have technology, we have YouTube. What would you be doing if we didn't have that? What do you think you would be doing? Or maybe if you'd never discovered it, really?
I would still be at my cushy law firm job, lobbying, fundraising, in politics. I might be working on a campaign at this point, but that's where I was. And I was in that job for 5 years, and I went to school for poli-sci. Like, this was what I was going to do. Yeah. And suddenly, this whole world opened up to me. In addition to that, that was experience that was extremely valuable, because I was fortunate to be, although working in a law firm, I was working in the common sense side of the office, which was politics. I didn't have to worry about service letters. I was just calling the governor's office and saying, can you take a meeting? And having that ability and that people skill taught me a lot that came into play for marketing and social. So. Yeah,
awesome. So if you could visit anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
I'm so excited, because I would pick Dublin, Ireland, because I am so white, and I feel like I need to go there and fully understand my heritage so I can appreciate the whiteness. But I'm actually going there at the end of the month, because I'm going to be speaking in Scotland soon after.
Yeah, that was on one of your last podcasts, right?
Yeah.
I heard that one.
Mm-hmm. Content Marketing Academy in Edinburgh.
And then, so who's one person that you have not met that you would love to meet one day?
I would love to meet Seth Godin.
I don't know who Seth.
Seth Godin, he found, do you remember Skidoo? You need to find the Seth Godin, and you will. Everyone who's watching this hold on. You will love him, because his blog posts are like 3 sentences, and his books you can read in an afternoon, and he's just so profound and so brilliant. And so from a business perspective, that I would nerd out a little bit. From a mainstream perspective, Oprah. I would meet Oprah. She inspires me to no end.
And my last question, do you have, and you've kind of already answered it, but do you have any advice for YouTubers starting out, basic advice?
Basic advice would be to just execute, and to stop worrying about what other people are doing, but instead find ways to work together. I think it's too easy for everybody to be so concerned about what everyone else is doing that we feel really bogged down. And trust me, if I am not speaking from a pedestal here. Do you know how many conversations I have with Austin and Swoozy, and they're like, girlfriend, like, what are you doing? Like, you know exactly what to do. Yeah. You're just not doing it. And I think everybody has a rhyme or reason for why they make video, and whatever that is, just believe in it and do it, and stop worrying about, I don't have 4 million subscribers. Like, Are you impacting somebody the way that you want to? Are you doing what you hope to achieve? Then you're on a good page. So find ways to collaborate. Stop worrying about competition. Stop telling people that their metrics don't line up, that they have too many subscribers for how many views they get. The analysis that's happening is it's just unfair because you're discrediting creators and they just wanted to make something they care about.
That's great advice. I love it. Is there anything you want to promote?
Oh, check out 30daystobettervlogging.com. I would love that'll take you to my website too. Just if you want to check out free videos, it's all there.
Perfect. I'm going to link all of her stuff down below, so don't worry about it, guys. Amy, thank you so much. I love your confidence. It's in your energy. It's so attract. I don't mean attractive like I'm in love with you, but it's so attracting. It's awesome. I love it. I really do. And that's what, when I saw you at Team Crispy Live, I can't say enough good things about it. It just, you won me over, really. So
thank you so much. That means a lot to me, and I hope you know that, because truly that's the sort of thing that keeps me going. We got to keep on going on some kind of fuel, and that's exactly what I need. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Guys, again, if you want to follow her stuff, look in the description down below. Savvy Sexy Social. Make sure you Google it. You'll find everything about her. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys down the road. Peace.